And it is their policy to accept the £20 coin.
Has he paid?
Policy? No, he hasn't.
Right, if you haven't paid, and if you walk out the store now,
They've still got the money though.
If you take off this one, we can accept and we'll take the registration and we can call the police, identify it. But you are not taking, that way we will call the police.
So you would take the coin if I take the mask off?
Yeah, because
well,
we don't know the first. Then we can't identify it.
But
the CCTV also not identify your face.
But CCTV doesn't have to identify myself to use legal tender. And you've said that you'll take it. You said you'll take it if I take my mask off. Yeah. Hi pal, you okay?
Yes.
Number 8.
£20 shipment. Anything else?
No, just that.
You can accept this one. It's a £20. Coins £20. No, we are not accept. You can give the post office or bank. It's not accept.
I'll move out the way so you can serve this customer.
Okay.
You can't accept it. It's legal tender though.
No, legal, but we are not sending any message or anything on the web or news or anything. We are not buying.
You don't accept legal tender?
Yeah, we don't know anything about that.
I'll step out the way.
Not allowed that. Because we don't know anything.
You don't know nothing about it?
Yeah.
The £20 coin is legal tender though.
But we don't know anything. You have to take off the mask, please.
I can't take off the mask, no. You can't ask me to do that.
We begin at a petrol station where a simple transaction starts to spiral due to a clash between ego and policy. The customer has filled his tank and attempts to pay with a valid £20 coin, but the staff member refuses to accept it unless he removes his face covering. It's a clear case of policy overriding common sense, especially when the staff member admits the coin would be fine if the mask came off, showing the issue isn't the payment, but compliance.
I haven't got any other form of payment though. It's just that.
Legal money. First time
Legal money. It is legal money.
We don't know any information about that. We can't take that.
That £20 coin has the same legal tender status as like a £5 note.
Yeah, I know, but we don't know any about that.
If you know though, then you know it's legal tender, so you can take it.
You know we can take because the company didn't send him anything about that.
So you do know that it is legal tender.
Take, please.
Yep.
Yeah. You can't take this. Sorry. You have to pay. You are not taking the mask. You have to remove.
I don't have to take the mask off. I don't need to.
This is not legal.
But you just said that it is legal. You're saying it's not legal, but before you said you know it is legal tender.
But we can't identify your face. You have to take off the mask first. Otherwise, we will call the police now. Panic button. We will press that's coming police. Then you can talk the police. We can't argue with you. Okay? This is not legal. Press the panic button.
I'm wearing the mask because it's cold.
No, it's cold. You can't enter in the shop with mask. Legal. You know that one?
It's illegal. It's illegal.
Yeah.
Where's the sign?
Sign is outside.
Right. I won't be taking the mask off.
Okay. This one not taking allowed. If you want, we will call the police.
It's
police is
BP.
coming. You can give the answer. Okay?
No need to call the police. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, because you are
really
not
is.
taking the mask. That's the problem.
I don't need.
This is not legal. We don't know. We don't know any information about that.
But you said it is legal. You admitted that. You do know.
It's legal, But
is,
not
yeah.
taking any petrol station or any bank or anything.
I checked with BP before coming here. Don't call the police.
But you have to take off this one. We can tell the reason police because he is hiding the face.
Because it's cold.
Inside not cold, outside only cold. Okay, we are staying here without mask. Every customer is coming without mask. Why you are hiding?
Because it's part of my clothing. I don't need to take it off.
As the standoff continues, the staff member calls the police instead of accepting the cash, turning a simple payment issue into something far bigger. The customer stays calm, even referencing a prior check with head office, which makes the situation seem even more unnecessary. To most viewers, it comes across as a misuse of police resources for what is essentially a civil dispute, as the inability to accept an unusual but valid coin escalates the scene.
I checked with BP before coming here. I didn't.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that 999?
You charge me for pump 3 or pump 1.
Don't 999 it.
Yeah. I'll pump 1 at the end.
Yes, sir.
Ish. It's only a couple of 10, 16 pence.
Or don't 999 it.
If I drive up.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's okay. Feel good. 6. Ready? Which one?
Yeah, this one not accept. You have to send the Royal Mint. That one. This is not accept.
You don't send them to the Royal Mint.
No, we
You
can't.
don't do that.
We can't do it.
The Royal Mint is who gives you them.
Yeah, we can't do it. That's why police said we can't accept this one because that one only they're using the Royal Mail.
Well, the police can't give you civil advice.
Yeah,
So
you have to take the address and everything, but you have to send this one for the Royal Mint because not the legal. This one legal you can't use anyone.
It is
Any
legal.
shop, the
It is
post
legal
office also
tender.
Not getting.
It is legal tender. It's the same legal tender status as a £10
Post
note,
office,
£5
post office
note.
also not taking. Bank also not taking. They said.
They do.
Yeah.
They can.
No,
They can.
they don't do.
They can. Now, I did check at BP before coming here that
No.
BP do take them.
We are working here. Nobody taking like this. First time I saw this one.
It might be the first time you've seen it, but it is legal tender. You can bank that coin.
No, this one not
You
taking
can.
anyone. You have to send only Royal Mail. You can just that one. You not kind of.
Royal Mint is who
Yeah,
issues the
Royal-
coins, so you don't send it to the Royal Mint.
This one not send.
The Royal Mint issue them. They do. Yeah, like I said, I've checked with BP before giving you a visit here, and they do it. You do take them.
Nobody taking here this one. Huh?
So are the police coming?
Yeah, wait.
The police are coming.
Yeah.
999.
Yeah, because you are hiding the face mask. If you remove it, okay, you can go. But you are not face hiding. No?
Well, I did ask your colleague whether he wanted me to stay inside or not, and he says stay inside.
Not sign, but you can't identify this your face. Why you are wearing that one?
Because I want to.
Huh?
Because I want to, and it's cold.
Cold is outside only. Here not cold.
Well, I want to.
It's up to you.
While waiting for officers, the situation highlights clear confusion about what counts as valid money, with staff insisting the coin needs to be sent to the Royal Mint, revealing a gap in basic understanding. For viewers, it's frustrating to watch as the customer calmly explains legal tender, only to be met with resistance. The scene shows how quickly things can escalate when authority figures lack a solid grasp of their own procedures.
Hello. Hi, sir. You okay?
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Good.
We've got a little issue. Sorry. What's happened, sir?
I don't know, ask them. No idea.
Take this point. This is not legal.
What are they?
Yeah. Then you make this legal.
Have you paid for fuel, sir? Yeah. Have you put your fuel in?
I have, yeah, and I've paid you.
Right. Has he just tried to pay with them?
Yeah. You want to, you're not paying.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry. Let me start with
So
What are they?
it's a £20 coin. There you
Never
go.
seen them in my life.
So it's from the Royal Mint, so the same place that all legal tender comes from. It's got the same legal tender status that any other money has.
Never seen one of these in my
Can I
life,
take
really.
your collar number, sorry?
Yeah, 3130. Sorry.
And you're from Middlesbrough Station, are you?
No, I'm from Stockton. Stockton Police Station.
I was asked the post office, they said they are not accept this one.
Yeah, I don't think they would either, to be honest with you. Have
you
you
say-
got any other means of payment at the minute?
I don't know. Can I ask why you didn't tell me before you started recording?
So when we go to any incident, our tour of duty and our police protocol is to video every incident we go to achieve the best evidence.
But you've got to notify the person, or the first available opportunity.
No, we don't.
You do?
Have you got that from somewhere? Have you read that up somewhere? Or
Yes, your policy. Yeah.
Well, at the minute, we're obviously videoing everything because we've been called to an incident. Immediate response where there's some ongoing issue with payment, whether it's a domestic...
999?
Well, that's what's coming as, yeah.
Wow.
Well, we just didn't know what was happening. There was an altercation in the shop, so we've arrived on that instance.
But you've still got to tell someone at the first available opportunity that
Yeah.
you're recording, and you didn't.
Well, we don't have to tell you. We turn our body cameras on 30 seconds before any incident. So these pre-record technically when we're in the vehicle.
But you do have to tell them before you start
don't.
recording.
We don't. Are you going to give me your name?
I'm not, no.
Right, okay.
Because
Is there a
it's,
reason for that?
Because it's a civil matter, and it's not something that the police can get involved in.
To a degree, you're right. It is a civil matter. But we can deal with it a different way. But obviously, ultimately, you haven't paid for your fuel.
I have.
But they're not accepting that money.
But that's up
Are
to
they?
them to accept it. If they
But
decline...
they've obviously run the post office and they've declined that. Ultimately, it's a civil issue. But if you're not willing to give us your details, then how do we know that you're going to resolve a civil issue at a later date?
When police arrive, they immediately seem to take on the role of private security rather than neutral parties. In a payment dispute, their role is usually to keep the peace, not enforce store policy, yet the officer's first move is to demand the customer's name. He frames it as potential theft, overlooking the obvious fact that the customer is standing there, ready and willing to pay, suggesting he may have already formed the conclusion before assessing the situation. So,
If you're happy to give us your details, then we can look at the civil issue at a later date.
But that's a
not
civil...
problem.
That's a civil issue, that's nothing for the
But
police
we
to get
don't know your
involved in.
details, do we? So you could technically escape from here and never come back and never deal with that issue. Then you'd be circulated as wanted for that, won't you, for making off without payment?
That's not a police issue at the minute.
It is.
It's
It is
not.
a police issue because you've not paid for fuel. So there's still an offence there of that you've not paid for your fuel.
But I
before
have paid.
leaving.
I've gave them...
But you've gave them this coin,
Yeah.
which ultimately they've spoke to the post office and they've decided that it's not a reasonable amount of payment for your fuel. So at the minute we're sort of hands are tied, agree with you on a certain instance of that, but we still need a solution today whether we take your details and we deal with it at a later date or we pay a different...
Is that for me as
outcome.
well?
I'm not too sure. Potentially, yeah, I'm not too sure.
Oh my god.
Could be a different job, but I don't actually know who that is, if I'm honest with you. It must be. I wasn't aware somebody else was travelling, so...
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Shall we move out the way?
If you want to,
If there's
want to move back here, that's not a problem, yeah, out the way, people.
Just interrupting people.
So you're going to give us your details
Have you
then?
came as well on blue lights?
Yeah. So basically, he's trying
Wow.
to pay with this. They've run the post office and said that it doesn't really exist, you can't pay with that. No. He obviously won't give us our details. I've explained to him to a degree it's a civil matter, however, if he does make off and he doesn't give us our details, we're struggling for any sort of civil issue at a later date. Any details and making off without payment, yeah. So I've explained if he does give us his details and we know where he is and we can contact him at a later date, hopefully this issue can get resolved. Now he's obviously not really wanting to do that at the minute,
Because
are
it's
you?
a civil issue and it's nothing for the police to get involved
But
in.
you're still going to make off, aren't you? Technically without payment, but if we can get your details,
But I have paid.
but you haven't.
And it is their policy to accept the £20 coin.
Have you?
How is it
Has
their
he paid?
policy? No, he hasn't.
Right. If you haven't paid, and if you walk out the door now,
They've
then
still
you're
got
li-
they've still got
There's
the money
the
though.
Just
Pound
let,
there. Well, whatever you
just
say
let me
that is.
finish. If you
Yeah.
walk out that door now, you are liable for an arrest because we don't have your details.
But you don't need them.
Well, I do
Because it's a civil issue.
but it's not because a make off without payment is then a police matter. So if you walk out that
No,
door
it's
now,
not.
it is. If you walk out that door now, you'll be getting arrested for make off without payment.
But there is an agreement with
But
BP that
Is there
the
any other
coin can be
way? Is
used.
there any other way that you can pay? Because we're going to sit here for hours arguing. I've been quite respectful to you. I appreciate you have to a degree, and I appreciate that from yourself. You haven't been argumentative with me, and I appreciate that you've been a a normal human being.
No,
However, we need
I don't
a
intend to.
solution.
No.
No, I know you
If
appreciate
you
that.
can pay for the fuel now by other means, then that's fair enough. It'll be the end of the matter.
Or if you can give us your details and we can deal with it at a slower time.
Here comes the pressure point. The officer raises a making off without payment, which typically requires both dishonest intent and actually leaving the scene, neither of which applies here. The customer is still present and trying to pay, yet the officer suggests that not providing ID somehow creates criminal intent after the fact. It comes across as a tactic to force compliance when there's no clear legal basis, setting up a decision that may not hold up under proper scrutiny.
We can offer you that, but if you're not willing to do either any, then we're struggling with what we have left to do.
Because we can't let you walk out that door without paying. But
We don't know where you live, you might not even be from around here, I'm not saying you are, but you know what I mean, we have people where they'll make off and then they won't give us our details and then we're going to struggle. I'm still going to have that £20 of fuel, unfortunately, with this BP garage outstanding.
Which car is it?
But I have paid for the fuel.
But you haven't paid for the
Haven't
fuel.
paid for
Which
fuel.
one?
Right, we're going round in circles, aren't we?
We are, unfortunately, yeah. But we're trying to...
But if BP have a process and a policy that they take the
So
coin,
where have you read this policy then? Tell me about that education side of what you know.
it's not up to me to educate you on
Well,
their
you're telling me
policy.
it's their policy, so I'm just asking,
Yeah.
what's your policy? You got a policy? If he's saying you've got a policy, is there a policy here?
He said he doesn't know about it, but I've checked with BP head office before
Right,
coming.
and who did you contact from BP head office?
But it's not,
Speak to a person,
it's not up to me
or-
to tell you that. It's up to them.
Well, you either engage with us and we deal with it, because one minute you're saying it's a reason to pay with this, but then you're not backing yourself up with a reason as to what that is. You've said you've contacted head office, appreciate that if that's what you've done, you've gone out your way and done that.
Yep.
But we don't know which head office, when you've contacted them, what they've said, we don't know anything. So all I know, you could just be lying to me now.
But that's a civil issue. It's nothing to do with myself
But if you
or
make
you.
off without giving us any details, we've agreed, we've reasoned with you now, and we've tried to say that if you give us your details, just tell you where they live, we'll deal with it slow time. However, you then leave, we don't have your details, we don't know where you live, you could live in London for all we know, and then there's still this making off without payment because they will not accept this as payment.
But I don't have to identify for a civil issue.
It technically isn't a civil issue though, is it, when you leave and you don't pay? You haven't paid for your fuel. We've got the payment here, which isn't acceptable. So really, you haven't paid at the minute.
Well, I have, because I've handed the coin over. So
Right.
I haven't got that in my possession, and I've contacted BP head office
Okay.
before coming here.
Right, and was that today
Um,
then, or?
No,
So when was that then? So you've contacted BP head office before you've come in?
correct.
Right, so did you contact them today, or was it yesterday, or last week, or?
It's not up to me to say that. It's not up to the police
Well,
to
we've
do
give you options, haven't we? So we either work with an option. You are?
But it would be an unlawful arrest though, because it's a civil issue.
Hey Sarge, just Jessie free to speak. You got it here. Just a quick one, just that the... Oh, you're not free to speak.
Can you tell me why you didn't warn me about your body camera as well?
I've told you already.
Body was on it.
But why didn't you tell me?
Basically saying we haven't told them.
Why didn't you tell me?
I don't need to tell you.
Swap.
You do.
I don't.
You do.
No, I don't.
It's part of your policy, you do.
No, it's not.
At the first reasonable opportunity.
The officer begins challenging the customer's claim about contacting head office, but instead of verifying it, he uses doubt as a reason to demand ID. It becomes a circular argument. I don't believe you, so provide your details. The customer holds his ground, asserting his right to privacy in what is essentially a civil matter. This is the point where a more experienced response could have de-escalated the situation, but instead the officer doubles down.
Don't show me details like that.
Yeah, and is there a picture?
No.
Yeah, so would you mind just adding that vehicle to the job, please? The easy option is that you pay,
But I have paid.
but you haven't paid because that's not...
But if I've got a civil agreement with the company prior to coming, that's nothing to do with you.
I don't understand the civil agreement. Why would the... If it's not money, it's not money.
But it is.
That's why I'm getting confused. How's it money?
Do you understand what the £20 coin is?
No, that's why I'm confused.
Well, why are you threatening me for arrest then, if you don't know?
Because it's not money.
It is.
Right. We'll agree to disagree. At the end
you
of the...
don't know that. It is. It's
Right.
legal tender, the same as a £20 note and a £10 note.
Right, and who did you speak to from the BP garage, the manager?
It's a Royal Mint who issued that £20 coin.
Right. Okay.
So it's the same money as any other money. She has the packaging.
That's fine. I've
It's
seen
given
it, but
by the Royal
like
Mint.
I've said, I've never saw it before.
The Royal Mint make £20 notes, £10 notes.
Right, okay. But I'm not aware of it, and that's why we haven't.
But then you're threatening with arrest because you don't know. You can't do that.
Well, if you get someone on the phone to me who you've spoken to earlier, then we could kind of end the matter here, can't we?
But if it's a civil issue, I don't need to assist you.
But at the minute we don't know it's a civil matter.
But I don't need to assist you in a civil issue.
But you do, because it then turns into a police matter because we don't know that coin.
But if
This is
there's a-
what I'm getting at.
but if there's a civil
You're running
agreement-
the risk of being arrested because you haven't given us his details, and you're going to walk out that door, and it's technically a failure to pay.
But then it'll be a
Make off
civil.
without payment.
But then I'll sue you.
Well, that's
So-
fine. If you want to sue us, that's fine.
Unlawful
But
arrest.
like I said, we've been honest with you in terms of which way we can go. The staff here have been very honest, okay? And all I'm saying
Well, he
is, if you
hasn't.
get the person on the phone who you spoke to earlier with the agreement, then that could be the end of the matter. But
you
as
know-
far as I do, then technically, if you walk out the door, it's going to be make without payment.
He's already accepted to take it.
You haven't accepted to take it. No, hasn't accepted to take it.
He said.
Sorry, hasn't accepted to take it.
He said if I take me.
So
He said if I take my mask off, he would take it.
You are and you're right. At this moment in time, it's a civil issue. We know that. However, this isn't a means of payment. So once you walk out that door and you choose not to pay, then it becomes a criminal matter of making off without payment.
But he's
Which is
already
what- no,
accepted
we're
it.
not talking about that. We're
We're
talking
just
about
messing around
what
here.
we've got.
It's ridiculous, really.
He said he would take
But
it
he's not.
if I
We're
take
not-
my mask off.
Right, no, that's not what we're saying. We're saying,
what he said.
well, then if
You
you
can wear a
don't...
mask all you want. It's COVID still, so we have no issue. We can
But
wear
he
a mask.
said he would take it if I take my mask off.
Right, well,
And I
that's-
don't need to
we
take my
weren't-
mask off.
Well, true, you don't need to take mask off, but we weren't here when that happened.
But he
so we
said
are
he would
witnesses to
take
that.
it.
It's going off a matter, we're going off a different matter now. You walk out that door, becomes a criminal matter, and you get arrested for make off without payment.
Or you give us your
You're-
details.
You're refusing to give us your details, and we don't know that vehicle is yours because you're not...
But I've told you
Is it urgent?
that he said he would take the coin
But he isn't now, is
if
he?
I take my mask off.
Right, well, I wasn't here for that, so we have no witnesses, unfortunately, other than you and him. Right now, I can't view that.
Body camera.
But right now, I can't view that. At the end of the day, you've come in, you've paid for
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
got your fuel, you've come in. This isn't a payable matter. Once you leave, we've offered you to give us your details and deal with it that way. For all I know, that vehicle could be registered to somebody else and lived in London. And how are we ever going to trace you? That's my matter at the minute, because you're still refusing to give me
I
your
get that.
details. You're refusing to
I'll
tell
pick
me
up
what
on
head
that.
office said. You're refusing to tell me when you sort of rang them and what their policy is. When I've asked you.
There is one on them.
But I
So
don't
once
need
you
to
leave
assist
this
you.
situation,
there
it is
anything
making
else
off
on
without payment. I can't be any more reasonable with you
there
and
anything
give
else
you
on it?
some sort of options that we can go
But I
with,
don't
but you're
need
still
to assist
refusing
you.
to.
I don't need to assist the police in a civil
please.
matter.
It's a civil matter until you leave. And you are choosing not to pay, so it comes into a criminal matter of making off without payment. If you
That's
want to know
why
what
I
it's called, it's
contacted-
like bilking. We call it bilking here.
That's why I contacted BP head office before
Okay.
coming. Are you listening?
I am listening, yes, but my sergeant's talking to me.
Well, tell him you're busy.
Yes, go ahead. One of my colleagues here, there's two of us.
I'm on the comms. Right, Linda, I'll get back to you.
This is where the logic completely breaks down. The customer highlights that staff already agreed to accept the coin if the mask was removed, confirming the money itself is valid. If it's acceptable in one condition, it doesn't suddenly become invalid in another. The officer ignores this contradiction entirely, focusing less on resolving the payment and more on enforcing compliance, shifting the issue away from law and into control.
You're not sorry.
Right, okay, that's perfect. I'll let you know what happens. Cheers, my dear, thank you, bye-bye. Bye.
The reason I contacted BP before this is to stop this from happening.
Right, but it
I
has,
contacted them
unfortunately.
beforehand.
Right, but do you understand that it has happened, and now obviously we're kind of in a predicament that if you walk out that door, then it is a bilking.
But
So
if-
you will be liable for an arrest because we don't know who you are, and that is not a matter of payment in our kind of eyes. That's all I'm saying to you.
Well,
So
in your eyes,
you're not being reasonable like we're being reasonable to you. You haven't given us your name. We don't know who you are, and you're saying that you're going to walk out those doors without paying. So then you are liable for an arrest.
but I have paid though,
But you haven't paid.
with a legal tender.
But you haven't paid. We're going around in circles. You're just going to disagree with everything I say to you. So
Likewise.
at the minute, well, exactly. So that until we kind of clarify with our supervision what's going to happen, there's no point going around in circles, is there?
Well, there isn't, no.
Right.
But to stop the dishonest part is the reason why I contacted BP beforehand, so we didn't have this. So if you arrest me for a civil matter when they've already
It's not a
agreed to
civil-
take the money,
It's not a civil matter when you walk out that door.
But they've already
We're
agreed
going
to
round
take
in
it.
circles again,
They
aren't
have.
we? You're going round in circles. We're going around the same thing over and over. You're saying to me that it is a payment, and I'm saying to you it's not.
Well, I've got it on camera, but he said that he would take it if I take my mask off.
It doesn't matter.
And I don't have to take my mask off.
No, you don't. I'm not saying you have to take
But
your
he
mask
said
off,
he
but
would
I'm not
take it.
talking about that topic. I'm talking about that if you walk out that door now, then it's a fail to pay, it's a bilking.
But I've offered to pay.
But you haven't, because it's not a means of payment.
Are you not listening?
I know you've spoke to BP Garage, but you're not willing to give me those details to ring them myself.
But I don't need to.
Well, then fair enough. We're going round in circles. Yes, anything further? Just checking the coin. If we ring the person who we spoke to earlier...
He's already said
right,
he would take it.
Can you just pop over here for a second?
If I take my mask off.
Right.
And I've got it on camera.
That's fine. I don't to be fair, I'm not particularly bothered what he said to you about taking your mask off. What I'm bothered you
well, that's
about
really
is
important.
is
That's
sorting
really
this
important.
matter out.
That's really important.
Have you got the manager of the BP Garage that he's possibly spoken to on the phone earlier?
It's head office.
The head office. The what, sorry? I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Not informed about that point, so I asked the post office, they are not accepting this point.
Right, he's already spoken to the boss and they're not accepting the
Because
coin.
this one, not illegal, only the Royal Mint, they can use it.
The Royal Mint?
No,
Right, okay.
the
So
Royal Mint issue the coin, they don't take the money.
Not taking the legal.
The Royal Mint make the money. The Royal Mint don't take it.
If you're not announcing anything about that.
I understand.
But you said that you would take it.
It's not a Royal Mint. If it's a Royal Mint, they can accept it, but it's not a Royal Mint.
It is Royal Mint.
Yeah, Royal Mint only do.
It is Royal Mint. Look at the packaging.
The customer repeats that he planned the visit in advance and even contacted head office to confirm payment would be accepted. Hardly the behavior of someone intending to steal. The key element of dishonesty required for a crime seems completely absent, yet the officer continues to treat it like a criminal matter. It reflects a concerning tunnel vision, where authority is being used to force a resolution that the law may not actually support.
But I don't need to identify to him.
He is well within his right to say we're not taking payment because they don't have any ID from you. They can't see your face. So even if you were to leg out, how would we ever be able to identify you?
But I don't need to identify myself to use legal tender.
No, but when you walk out that door and you refuse to pay, then it becomes a matter because you're willing to give us your name.
But
There's
I have.
There's other ways we can go about this. If you give us your name, you can be interviewed as a voluntary tender. If you were to walk out that door, that's what I'm saying to you is. If you provide us with your details, this can go a different way. If you walk out that door without giving us your name, then it's a criminal matter because you haven't given us your details and it's technically a bilking.
But I've got a civil agreement.
But right, I'm not going around in circles. I'm sorry, but I'm not going around in circles talking about the civil agreement.
Well,
Right,
I'm not
this
either.
is the ultimatum. Yeah, I know, I'm trying to tell him now. So, if you're happy to give the staff, not us, give the staff your details, then yes, it is a civil issue. If you're happy to give them your details right now, name, contact number, that's a civil issue. However, if you choose not to, you choose to leave here, you are committing a criminal offence of making off without payment, which you can be arrested for.
Even if I've got a prior agreement to use it.
We're not going to go on all the time because I've asked you about head office, you've refused to give me that, you've refused to give me your name, you're just being plain, blatant awkward.
No,
Gave
I'm
you
not.
two options.
I'm not.
Being very
You
awkward.
are, we're not stupid, you've got a camera on, we're not silly.
I don't need to identify myself
I didn't
for a
say you
civil
did.
issue.
You can keep your mask on all you want,
Don't-
I don't care.
You're
doesn't
not
matter.
listening to a word we're saying to you.
But are you offering to give
Because
the
you're
staff,
wrong.
not myself, not my colleague, the staff your name and contact number?
No.
Right, so we have one option but two will lock you up then.
Well, I've got a civil agreement in the
No,
background.
Fine, you
we're
can
not-
So-
prove that
you
at
can
court.
prove-
I've
yeah.
got
Prove
that.
that at court
That's
then.
fine. You can prove that
Yeah?
at court.
We'll get the staff's details now and we'll go from there then. I gave you plenty of chances.
It's going to be an unlawful arrest.
It's not going to be a lawful arrest.
It is. It is.
Fine. That's fine.
Because I can prove that it's not being dishonest. If I was being dishonest,
Why don't you just prove now rather than being awkward?
if I was being dishonest,
Because you're
why
being
would I
honest
have
with you.
contacted head office before
So
coming
what
here?
have head office said then?
They said they would take the coin.
And what time did you ring them? Who did you ring them?
Tried. Wouldn't give us the details.
I've got it in writing.
Where is it then? Why wouldn't you bring it to the store?
But I
Knowing
don't-
that
I
this
don't-
was going to be the issue. Knowing this would be
You
the
seem very
issue.
educated.
But I don't
so
need
it's
to.
free, So why would
Right,
you bring
okay,
the
well,
paper?
that's fine. It's
So we're going to want to see that, aren't we?
I'm very educated. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially on your body worn footage that you didn't tell me about. Professional standards for you too. Education on your body worn footage. But it's always going to be a civil issue if I've got something in the background and I've told you that exists. It'll be a misconduct case as well, potentially. and I've got it on camera that he said he would take the coin if I take my mask off.
Well, we can take your camera as evidence then, and we'll get it downloaded. We'll do that.
The ultimatum is set. Leave and it's treated as a crime. Stay and provide ID. It appears the officer is trying to create grounds for arrest purely to establish identity in what is essentially a civil matter, blurring the line between civil liability and criminal law. The move toward handcuffs doesn't seem driven by a clear offense, but by a challenge to authority.
Thank you. One last chance. We're going to give... You don't have to give me your details, just give the staff your name and contact number, that's all you need to do.
I don't need to do that.
Okay.
So you're refusing to do
For a
that?
civil issue, I don't. I don't.
Right, well this moment in time, you're currently under arrest for making off without payment. You don't have to say anything,
but I haven't made off.
We don't mention one question in the which later line. Or anything you do is maybe given evidence.
But I haven't made off though.
For your arrest is prompted in fact of investigation. Okay?
But I haven't made off.
You're under caution as well.
And due to the fact that you failed to provide details.
But I haven't made off.
Failed to provide details, yeah.
But I haven't made off.
Right, are we going to go calmly? Are we going to go quietly?
We would go calmly all the time.
Okay, well, do you want to walk with us then?
Of course.
Thank you. Don't need to handcuff you because you're being fine with us. So. Actually, where's my vehicle?
There.
Just come with me, sir, please. Have you got anything in your pockets that's going to harm me or you?
Just
take them out. It's just a question we ask everybody.
Can we just take your camera off as well, please?
Hang on. We're absolute jokers. Taken to Middlesbrough police station, arrested for trying to use a £20 coin. Got to custody. The custody sergeant wasn't having none of it.
The arrest is carried out and the man is taken to the station, but the situation quickly shifts. The custody sergeant refuses to authorize the detention, which often indicates that the grounds for arrest are too weak to justify holding the individual. It suggests the initial decision may have been driven more by ego than by solid legal basis. It serves as a reminder that while frontline officers can make errors, custody procedures exist as an important safeguard.